Reckless Ben was investigating a missing Lego fortune, and now a new legal move means his latest episode that everybody wanted to see in this saga may never see the light of day. But while Ben has been ordered to stay silent, another investigation has uncovered new questions, including a disputed inventory, a mysterious U-Haul, and why the company is now reportedly suing the man who reportedly lost almost everything. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law&Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. All right, before we jump into this, did you know that Father's Day is like right around the corner? Yeah, I didn't even realize it. And if you're looking for what is that perfect gift for all the dads out there, I want you to meet the Chef IQ Sense Smart Meat Thermometer. This is the secret to stress-free restaurant-level cooking. So whether you're a seasoned grill master or maybe just trying to throw some steaks on this summer, the Smart Thermometer, it's a game changer. There's no more overcooking. There's no more, I think this might be done. No. Chef IQ tells you exactly when your meat is ready every step of the way. You just insert the wireless probe, you select your preferences, and then you hang out. You relax while you wait for the app alerts without even having to hover over the grill. It also works with ovens and smokers and stovetops, air fryers, and for every protein, from prime rib to wings to salmon. Seriously, this Father's Day, it's time to raise the stakes, no pun intended, and cook with confidence. Use code SIDEBAR for 40% off site-wide at chefiq.com.
Episode 3 is finally finished after crazy all-nighters and basically destroying my health. But I can't post it or I will go to jail. And not only that, I will also immediately lose my lawsuit of $300,000, and the GoFundMe we made for Brian will go straight to this mystery company that I am no longer allowed to talk about.
We've been on the story from the beginning, if you've been following us, right? YouTuber Reckless Benjamin Schneider, nearly 1 million subscribers. He investigates everything. He goes undercover, he exposes schemes. This time, has the scheme exposed him? That's going to be an argument, because that seems to be at least what authorities may be thinking here. That seems to be what the court may be thinking here. Because here's where we are now, as of literally days ago. And remember, Ben appeared on this program, appeared on Sidebar. We talked to him. But Ben Schneider says he can't talk anymore. Says if he posts his next video, he's going to go to jail. And it doesn't seem he means metaphorically handcuffs, cell, jumpsuit, that he would essentially violate a court order, a temporary restraining order, if he did so. And he says that the GoFundMe money, apparently this $400,000 raised for that family in Oregon, all of it would go away. So now you might be saying, if you've been following the saga, what the heck happened? How did a Lego investigation turn into this? A restraining order, police crackdown, and now there is public outcry that has reached the city council chambers. Just days ago, angry citizens took to the podium in the city of American Fork out in Utah, expressing fear about their own police department.
In fact, seeing this conduct, I am in fear of standing here with seeing if there's any retribution that they might bring on me. Because that is what they did to this individual. And if they're willing to do that to them, they are willing to do that to me.
Now here's the thing. While all of this was unfolding out in Utah, new information was coming to light about the case itself. The real value of the Legos in question. What was actually in that store? This mysterious U-Haul that may have changed everything. Now, I have to get into this because despite a temporary restraining order, I don't think this story is going anywhere. I don't think it's even close to being over. So before we even get into all the new stuff, we got to just make sure we're all on the same page about what this story even is. So little short abbreviated version here to catch up to speed. Now, Ben's account is that a man named Brian Mansell had a massive Star Wars Lego collection, his father's collection, actually, and built over the years, worth a lot of money, and a social media post at the time estimated it at $200,000, although we'll learn something important about that figure a little bit later on. So Brian apparently puts the collection on consignment at a bricks and minifig store in Salem, Oregon. That means that the store will sell the Legos, keep a percentage, and Brian gets the rest. Standard arrangement. But then, the reporting is, corporate allegedly shows up. And according to what Ben Schneider has documented in his online videos and what another independent YouTuber has appeared to confirm in a separate investigation, which we'll get into, Bricks and Minifigs corporate perform what's been called essentially a hostile takeover of that Oregon store. The existing franchise owners, Crystal and Ben Gorman, they apparently are removed, and then new management takes over. And Brian's collection, according to Ben, gone. No money, no Legos. So Brian apparently reaches out to Reckless Ben, and Ben starts looking into this. He starts investigating, and this is what Ben told us when we talked to him previously.
So basically, I've kind of gained a reputation online of solving crimes that the police are unable to solve. And I got probably like 10,000 emails. And this one just seemed like one of the most injustice out of all of them, where there was this guy who, this family spent their life savings collecting the world's biggest Star Wars Lego collection. It was like a big deal for them. And then they give it to this store trusting that they're going to sell it for them. And then they get like almost nothing back for it. So I was like, how can that happen? Like,
so Ben apparently helps Brian file a lawsuit. And according to Ben, essentially they win, or they were going to be victorious. But then he claims, according to Ben, corporate closes the store to avoid paying out a judgment. Ben apparently files another lawsuit, and this time it's against the owners personally, Joshua Johnson and Brandon Best, and they live in Utah. So Ben reportedly, allegedly, flies to Utah and tries to serve court papers, and not personally, but through other people. And he tries to have what the court calls a good faith conversation before litigation. And that's where we get to police involvement. This is where American Fork Police initiated traffic stops, trespass warnings. Ben gets arrested, and then he gets arrested again. And the American Fork Police Department said in a public statement that they were responding to what they believed were legitimate complaints. They claimed that Johnson and his family felt threatened by Ben and others allegedly showing up. They said they have to enforce Utah law that regardless of who's right or wrong in a business dispute, if there are claims of trespassing or harassment, they have to investigate it. They have to enforce the law. And that is where we left it last time. Now, new developments have changed everything. I got to start with Ben's own words. So this is just days ago. Ben took to his YouTube channel, Reckless Ben, and posted a short video. It's less than 2 minutes, and he calls it My Final Message. Now, for those of us who have been following this saga, this was a much anticipated episode in this investigation, right? We want Ben's narrative. Doesn't necessarily make it true, but it's his version, right? And could there be documentation? Could there be videos, audio? Okay, this was going to be the big reveal. Now the video drops, but instead of it being about what Ben could say or what Ben could claim or what Ben could allege, it was all about what he couldn't and may never again get to say.
Normally I would be like, screw the big guy telling me what to do. I'm going to do what's morally right. But in this situation, if I do that, then all my friends get screwed with this lawsuit and we lose all the GoFundMe money we raised, like immediately. The only problem is I was not given a chance to share my side. The court just heard their perspective, not mine. So because I wasn't able to share my side, I am now no longer allowed to talk about them.
So according to IGN's reporting on June 9th, a restraining order came after Bricks and Minifigs told the court that Ben was making threats, bomb threats, death threats against their manager and employees. Ben denies the allegations, but a court seemed to agree that there was a problem here, temporary restraining order. They look at it, they say there's a likelihood that the plaintiffs here would win on the merits, and it basically restricts Ben in a significant way from talking about the company. Look, there is an interesting legal issue. I talked about it on Jesse Weber Live last night, my News Nation show. But basically, you have this balance, right, between free speech and the court. And, sometimes there could be a challenge about, on one hand, you can't engage in certain speech or conduct that would be illegal, that would harass somebody or target somebody or release sensitive or personal information. On the other hand, can something be an illegal prior restraint? Are you illegally preventing somebody from engaging in protected speech? Put that legal issue to the side. As of right now, the court ordered this TRO. Episode 3 is finished. We now may never see it. But, as I mentioned, this isn't over. So while Ben was being silenced by this TRO, something else was happening. One YouTuber in particular, someone who does exactly what Ben does, decided to find his own answers. And you may know him as Coffeezilla. Internet detective, investigates scams, frauds, online grifts. He decided to take a deep look at this Lego case. Now his video is called, I Found the $200,000 Missing Lego. And what he claims he found may change how we understand this entire story, according to his opinion, according to his narrative. So Coffeezilla reportedly talked to everyone involved, the former franchise owners, the corporate executives, the new owners, Reckless Ben himself, and he claims he went through photos and spreadsheets and police records and point of sale data, and he laid it all out. So I got to start with the number that everybody's been using here, $200,000, right? That's what the social media post said about the value of the Lego collection. That's what Ben originally reported. That's what got everybody's attention. But according to Coffeezilla's investigation, he believes that number was wrong. Because in his video, he says he obtained the internal inventory records of the original Bricks and Minifigs owners, and according to those records, the real estimated value of Brian's collection was instead reportedly about $107,000, not $200,000, still a massive amount of money. But Coffeezilla apparently spoke to Ben about this directly. And according to Coffeezilla, Ben allegedly admitted he hadn't actually seen the final inventory sheet when he put out that initial number. But Coffeezilla also seemingly says that he found something else out in those records. According to him, about $20,000 of Brian's collection was allegedly marked as layaway. And when he reportedly asked the incoming owner, Josh Johnson, how many items were on layaway at the takeover, he claims there's this text message that appears to confirm that he said it was only 2 or 3. But Coffeezilla apparently spoke to the original owner who said it was closer to 98 items. So apparently worth between $15K and $25K. It's a major point of dispute. But here's where the dispute gets sharper. Because after this reported hostile takeover, Bricks and Minifigs corporate, they put out a statement. And they reportedly said they found only $2,000 to $5,000 worth of Brian's collection in that store. Coffeezilla apparently didn't take their word for it. He claims he went through over 200 photos that were taken by one of the original store owners before the takeover, and he and his team apparently hand-tagged every Star Wars Lego they could find that matched or possibly matched Brian's inventory. Their conclusion, according to them, about $21,000 worth of Brian's collection was in that store on the night of November 14th. That is 3 to 5 times what corporate had claimed. And then he apparently looked at the point of sale records, and according to his investigation, about $51,000 in sales matched Brian's collection. But according to Coffeezilla, Brian was only paid $17,000. So that means, based on the consignment agreement, Brian should theoretically have received roughly double what he actually got. And then there's the U-Haul. An ex-employee from the Eugene store apparently came forward, apparently told Coffeezilla that on the night of this takeover, Brandon Best shows up at the store with a U-Haul truck, apparently, allegedly full of Star Wars Legos from Salem. The employee reportedly said that Brandon told them that Crystal, the original franchise owner, stole Legos and left the country while he was standing there with a U-Haul full of Legos. That's the new allegation. So Coffeezilla apparently asked corporate about it. And according to him, they said no U-Haul. Instead, the claim is that Brandon shows up in a rental car, and the CEO said that he'd seen footage from that night and there was no U-Haul. But then Coffeezilla apparently found something else. A parking lot photo from that very night. He says he zooms in, brightens it up, and he says there was a U-Haul right outside the store. Corporate, according to him, apparently changes their story. They say now that U-Haul was for a camper trailer. It had nothing to do with the Legos. They apparently said the ex-employee was confusing 2 different events, one from October, one from November. So what is Coffeezilla's opinion? What is Coffeezilla's conclusion? After all the math, the sales records, the layaways, the offsite storage, the side deals, he estimates, it's his opinion, there is only about $10,000 to $20,000 worth of Legos that are completely unexplained. Here's the bigger problem. Even with everything accounted for, Coffeezilla claims that Brian Mansell is still out about $50,000 to $83,000 that he was never compensated for. But instead of resolving that, it seems, by all accounts, Bricks and Minifigs has taken another path. According to Coffeezilla's video, the company is now suing Brian Mansell for $1.3 million. He claims the company has chosen an aggressive legal strategy, that's a quote, aggressive legal strategy, and told them personally it was a, quote, horrible idea. His advice says it in his video. Drop the aggressive legal strategy. You are a Lego store at the end of the day. You were supposed to be about fun, not about a rerun of Suits. Now, their counter argument would probably be, we're being harassed, we're being targeted, we're suffering here. We got to take the law into our own hands, whether it's a criminal action or whether that's a civil action. So where are we? Ben is essentially silenced, right? His finale on all this investigation locked away, seemingly indefinitely. But here's the thing about a story this big. It doesn't just stop because one person can't talk. I said this is viral. In American Fork, Utah, the city at the center of this entire controversy, residents were reportedly showing up to a public meeting. And it's not to talk about Legos. It's not to talk about YouTube. It's to talk about their police department. On June 9th, the same day that Ben had posted his final message, the city of American Fork held a council meeting. Routine agenda, budget items, property taxes, a proposed fitness center renovation. But one by one, citizens reportedly walked to that podium and steered the conversation somewhere else.
Our police department in March went on a crusade against an individual, and he now has legal rights to sue this city. The police chief then went on a media release and lied to the public.
That was just the beginning. Speaker after speaker came forward describing what they called a pattern of misconduct, a traffic stop Ben went on the record saying was a lie, court papers allegedly falsely represented as served, a raid on an Airbnb that was captured here on police body cam footage where multiple people were taken into custody or detained, and another resident called for an outside investigation, saying the department has a history of protecting itself over protecting constitutional rights.
The American Fork Police Department is fond of saying we do things differently here, and they're right. And we see it here today as they have weaponized public records to manipulate narratives and shield themselves from scrutiny. When rights are violated and trust is broken, I think of the wise words the artist's grandson said. Our thoughts, our prayers, can't bring back what's no longer there. The silent are dead. Just having thoughts and prayers won't fix this. It is time for this council to do something differently. Stop shielding the AFPD and initiate a formal independent third-party audit.
So what happened? I mean, the council members listened, but they didn't announce any investigation. They didn't announce taking any action. And before we even get to where things are, I will tell you the American Fork Police Department has their own version of events. In a public statement that was released after the body cam footage went viral, the department addressed the growing online controversy. Here's what they said.
I understand that many people following this situation online have strong feelings regarding the underlying business dispute out of Oregon and allegations that individuals may have lost significant amounts of money. I recognize that people are frustrated, angry, and may feel that justice has not been served in relation to those allegations. Those concerns are understandable. Our responsibility in Utah was not to determine who was morally right or wrong in a business disagreement originating in another state. Our responsibility was to respond to conduct reported here in our community, evaluate the facts available to our officers at the time, and enforce Utah law as officers established probable cause that a crime had occurred. The fact that someone may believe they have been wronged financially does not exempt any individual from the laws governing harassment, trespassing, stalking, or other conduct within our jurisdiction. We remain committed to enforcing the law fairly, objectively, and transparently, regardless of who is involved or what narrative may exist.
And Brian Mansell, he's apparently still waiting. There's a question about the GoFundMe money, right? The over $400,000. Is it at risk? Episode 3, still on release. The city council, what are they going to do? We don't know what's going to happen next. This is a very unpredictable situation, but I'll tell you one thing. We're going to keep following. We're going to keep watching, and we're going to keep reporting. That's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also check us out on NBC's Peacock as well. If you want to follow me, X, Instagram, my News Nation show, Jesse Weber Live, Monday through Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern. See you next time, everybody.